Good evening, twins. WDF here. The mission before you, should you choose to accept it, is one of great importance. It's a message from Spirit to take a moment for the fallen. You might consider yourself among the fallen, even. You might consider yourself as having fallen so many times that you wonder, are there any more depths to which you can fall? Answer is yes, so don't ask that. And also, give yourself a moment to acknowledge the old parts of you that fell and the new parts of you that rose when you fell. Think about all of those moments when you thought you could not go on, when your intuition was wide open and so many things were coming in, you felt dizzy and ungrounded. Think about all the times when you felt burdened by so many other people's needs and wants and opinions and loyalties that you were completely overwhelmed. Think about the times when you felt like there were no right answers and you still made a choice and you went with it as best as you could until you could not go anymore. Think about all the times that you have fallen. And then think about all of those along your journey as it has gone so far who have fallen. Those, you may have had some friends, some soulmate friends, karmic friends, and you may have had some romantic partners who were soulmates or karmics. You may have had family members that you may have had actual people pass into the great beyond. Though there are plenty of those still in the living, to take a moment for those who fell, those who, when you were along your path, became a crossroads where you had to choose whether to stay with them and repeat the experiences that you had with them or to allow them to fall, knowing that the lessons in falling and picking yourself up are so bountiful, and having faith that Spirit takes care of all. Consider, have empathy for the fallen. That includes those that you might consider negative karmics, for it is often through having fallen in the past themselves that they get stuck in the loops that they do, that we and our twins end up with them in order to get ourselves out of loops that we were stuck in. Especially if you have a twin who's been doing their best to make a crappy situation work despite the urge, the incredible urge to come to you. Take a moment of silence for the fallen. Spirit is saying that now. That is the mission. To take a moment of silence for the fallen. And take a moment of silence for yourself. There are many messages coming through that are saying, learn to walk in silence. And many of those talking about it are talking about it as if it needs to be done, as if it should be thought of in a manner of something that is uncomfortable. Which, yes, it can in the beginning sometimes feel uncomfortable, though it should not be a walk in silence as if you are being punished for something you didn't do wrong. It should be an exploration of silence. It doesn't have to be a giant, exciting thing to go through, but you can find joy and gratitude in all experiences. You have been and are being taught alchemy. And this is one of the more profound, smaller lessons for you to learn. There are many joys in the spaces in between the notes, and music would not be music if it just all blurred together and there was no pauses between words, no rests between bars. It is much the same in life. And when we are not comfortable learning to move in silence and explore in silence without getting ourselves wrapped up in concern that if we speak up, someone else will know our plans or be able to use our powers or things like that. And it's not even that that stuff does not exist, it simply is irrelevant. You could speak anything you desire into life, and because of who you are and how you carry yourself, it is very unlikely that you would ever be limited in divine protections, and whatever you do can work in your favor. Though you've all been seeking the next step, the next answer, the next thing, this is that. Learn to explore in silence. Take a moment of silence, a small season of it, and explore it. You don't have to live in it. It doesn't mean that you need to disappear in it. You don't have to take your walk with silence in any sort of way that you've ever seen anyone do it before. There are not rules in it, except the ones that we believe must exist. That's why the benevolent ancestors and guides and angels and all beings coming to you are saying this. Go into your quests in a new spirit. Don't repeat the loops of those before you, least of all those who placate, who do mean things and say that it is love, who there are just so many different things. Don't do it like those who have done it before you. This is your turn to create a new path, to go find new waterfalls and hidden lakes and little watering holes with fun little adventures that you may not have ever known before. It's your opportunity to enjoy the sweetness that life has to offer, and not to be concerned with needing to confirm with somebody else that it was a beautiful experience. This is a part on the path of self-love. And you know, twins, that when you get into your equilibrium of self-love, so do those around you. Not just your twin. It's many. Many all around you. You attract those around you who are a vibrational match for you. And as you start to get better and better at self-love, those who are not ready to go up with you will either fall away or take themselves out, or you will know when the moment is right to release yourself from interactions with them. Those are some that spirits say now to take a moment of silence for. They are the fallen. Because you need to recognize also that you are special. You have a power unto yourself. You do light work. You laugh and you love and you play and you see things that nobody else sees. And you think of things in ways that, at least to those you talk to, it seems like nobody thinks in those ways. You know better. You know there are others, but that is part of why there are only so many of those like you and so many others. You are meant to create ripple effects, to show others in the world that goodness does exist, that authenticity does exist, that genuine, unconditional love does exist in healthy ways. non-codependent. You are here to show that art can bring upgrades to your being. You are here to show that there is much more beyond just sexuality that can be healing. You are here to show that animals deserve so much more of our empathy and understanding. You are here to help show new ways in parenting. You are here to write things that will never be forgotten, that will be on the greatest writers of all time list. You are here to step into the light so that those who have been standing in it can joyfully and gratefully step down because somebody has finally stepped into their shoes and can lead the people in the ways that they have, except better because it's you and it's new and it's divinely guided. And when you, dear twin, when you turn away, when you look away from somebody or something that you've had your incredible focus on, even if you do it in the most loving of way, even if you are the most respectful and gentle and clear and elegant of all things, it is still an incredible pain to no longer have your direct attention, especially for anybody who has held it for more than a moment. And a moment can mean so many things. That's part of why this is a moment of silence. Oftentimes as humans we measure a moment as like a couple of minutes, but really think about a moment like a moment in history. That could be a day in history, it could be an era in history. This is but a moment. And there are so many things that we often miss when we have our eyes trained on only one thing, and it is incredible that anybody in this world should be able to have such a tenacious focus, especially a focus of love, a focus of light. Though Spirit tells us now not to toss aside what we've been working on or wanting. In fact, Spirit simply says, listen to me. You do not need to know all of how or why this works or how long a moment will be, the whens and the what fors. Just pick a direction that feels like it will bring you joy and satisfying thoughts for right now. For right now. And let your heart and your gut and your mind, let them come together. Let them guide you together. If you let your emotions be your GPS. If what you are going to do creates an uncomfortable feeling within you, a tension, anything, then don't do it right now. If you drive in one direction to go somewhere that you thought might be a fun thing to do, and something just like you just feel tired, or you're like not really feeling up for it, or something just doesn't feel right, then turn around, go somewhere else. You can come back another day. You can find something else to do. In many ways, right now is a time where the 3D is, there's so many illusions in it. Kind of consider yourself kind of Two of Swords-ish, like you're blindfolded. You gotta feel your way around things. And let's say for this matter, you're blindfolded and mute for right now. It's not that you can't talk, there'll be moments to speak. It's a matter of, there's been so many that have been silenced or felt like they've been silenced. They've not been able to speak their truth. They've not been able to talk to who they want to talk to. Not been able to hear from who they want to hear from. And they've grown up with challenges, with silence, the silent treatment, invisible games, neglect, things like that, manipulations. And it is time now to heal our hearts with the joys of silence, with the sounds of silence, because silence can mean so many things. Go for a walk in the woods where you don't have your phone with you, or turn it off. and put it in your pocket and go for that walk, because there will be silence within you in terms of all the voices of all the people that you regularly connect through that phone, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or family or friends or things like that. When you silence that device, there is great silence, and you can experience the room of energy all around you when you allow yourself to disconnect even for but a moment and go for a walk. That silence is not silent. There are sounds in silence, kind of like the song a little bit. There are birds out there. There are little burrowing creatures. There are trees that will speak to you along the path. There are people that out there that you can smile at along your way. There are the sounds of vehicles and trains and planes and things. All stuff that we've all experienced before, but so often we get so raveled up in trying to avoid silence. In fact, I know a great many of those that I very much care for, who have repeated loops after loops of pain simply to try to avoid having to sit with their own thoughts in sobriety and see what is there. They are so afraid that what they will find there will scare them. It's time to heal that now, to explore the joys in the sounds of silence, not just what you can explore when you go for a walk, but what can you explore in your own mind when there is silence, when you don't, when you set healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries with everyone should mean that when you feel like you need time for yourself, when you need some solitude, when you need a moment of silence, the people around you should be able to appreciate that, whether it's, a long need or a short need. And granted, it is within reason, but nobody should be too upset about that. And if they are, then that is the first place that you need to go in and look at things and figure out, why is it that I cannot take time to myself to explore the fun of silence? Is it because my schedule is too busy? Is it because every moment of every day somebody is asking me to do something or think about something or get something or this or that? Is it because you're paying out more than you're making, so you're constantly having to work to catch up, like the Pop Goes the Weasel song? Is it because you've got some disorganization, and so you've procrastinated things and you're trying to play catch up? Like, why is it that you don't feel that you can stop right now and say, okay, I can do this, I can enjoy the silence? Why is it that, let's say you have to work, or you have kids, you have things that you can't just drop and you can't just go through. Why is it that you don't see that you can still learn to walk in silence and explore whatever there may be to explore in silence within whatever you do? If you are an overly chatty person or very loquacious, which I very much identify with, you could explore the ideas of simply letting other people talk far more than you do. If you are somebody who's often quiet, you could go the other way and see what things you might say that might create silences in others. You could walk around and simply look for where the quietest places are, where you live, where you work, where you do anything that you do. You could go to new places. You could go out of town to a new restaurant where nobody knows you and pretend that you are somebody completely different from who you are. You could do so many things in the sounds of silence, in the vibrations of silence. There are so many fun things to enjoy. Rejoice in that, and then from time to time, don't forget to stop and call in the love and the light for those who have fallen, for those who are in different parts of the spiral cycle, healing many things along the way, likely much because they cross paths with you. And Then send out love and light to those that you may not have met yet or know about who are on a similar stage as you and are in a place where they too are learning to feel comfortable with silences, to dance in joy with silence. Uplift them too, and know that they also uplift you. And know that that which you give out, the universe gives back to you, oftentimes three. Every time you pray for love and light for anyone else, the universe brings it back to you. Every time you put out a vibration of wanting to explore a mission in front of you with love and gratitude, that's when the universe gives that back to you. So go forth, twins, if you choose to accept this mission, and explore silence. Take a moment of silence for you, for whatever length of time that means, and do it in a new spirit. I'm not saying you can't go into it with sad or mad or other feelings, so go with the intention of exploring even those feelings in new ways.